Year-old young gentleman here who's coming in. He has some receding in his corners, and we're going to kind of try and stay one step ahead of this and kind of start filling in his corners and hope that he doesn't have a lot of further hair loss in the future. He's got really good donor. I would say as far as donor density is concerned, he's above average. In my opinion, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is bad and 10 is the best and 5 is average, he's probably about a 7. Okay, as far as density, hairs per square centimeter. And they're very straight and they're all in the same direction. His colic is up higher here, so when it comes to doing FUE, it should be a little easier because a lot of his hairs are all in the same direction. We're planning a 15 to 1600 graft case, 7 to 800 grafts per side. And we are going to just kind of draw out these corners and kind of figure out where we're going to put the hairline. Now, we met once before earlier, but now we're meeting again the day of surgery. And I told him that his center point here is actually a little lower than the average. The average adult male is about 4 fingers from the eyebrows. And that would put him up in here. So we're going to kind of make our hairline from about here. We're going to leave these little hairs that he has out front of the transplants, because anytime you can have a group of original hairs out in front of any transplant hairs, it only makes it look more natural. Plus, there's a good chance that this is going to recede. This little bit's going to come out, and then we're going to have his permanent hairline be at a more appropriate location that'll look appropriate for his age now and appropriate as he gets older in his 50s and 60s. Okay. When I look with my loupes, I can actually see some remaining hairs that are still left over. These are remnants of where his original hairline was. So it's pretty easy for me to kind of do almost like a little dot to dot, just to kind of put it back almost the way it was. The only thing I see on Eddie is he does have a little temporal recession. Now, did we talk about his temporal recession when we saw him last time?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So I think he has a little bit of recession here also. So not only has his hairline crept up this way, it's also crept back in here in the temples. So I think it looks a little more natural when you do a little bit of restoration in each area. So basically what's happened is his whole corner crept back, and now we're going to push it forward. Instead of both areas creeping back and then only fixing one, we're gonna fix them both. So we're gonna make his forehead a little bit smaller this way and a little bit smaller this way. Okay, this is you're only talking about maybe a half a finger's width or a finger's width of work, less than a centimeter, and this is a difficult area because, as you can see, the hairs are angled very flat against the skin. So when you're making the incisions, it has to be almost flat, straight up, so that when you slide the graft up and in, it grows flat against the skin. This is critical. You cannot have incisions made in this direction that stick out. It's very difficult to control. So this is a very difficult part of the surgery. So I'm going to eye this out as best as I can for now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start doing some measurements. And we're going to take some tools that we have to make sure that we're about as symmetrical as you can be. I like to use the term relative symmetry, meaning I think the hairline should look symmetrical when you look at it from the naked eye, but there should be some degree of variation along the hairline. There should not be perfectly straight. So I almost like to even show the patient almost a little bit of a zigzag line, just to show them we're not going to put grafts just on a straight line. There has to be some grafts that are on the line, behind the line, in front of the line, and there's a pattern to it. So I think that that's a critical point, and then we're gonna bring them a little forward here also. So Eddie, tell me what you're thinking. Are you thinking this is kind of what you had in mind? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some measurements. I'm going to use a couple different tools here that I use to determine if this is, you know, relatively symmetrical, which it is. This little device here can determine the midline and like a perfect arc. It's almost like a tool you'd use to hang a painting, a laser beam that shows you that it's very even. Okay, so we use all these tools to make sure that we're not missing something because we're using our just the naked eye. I also like to take a tape measure and make sure that this corner that I'm creating is the same distance to the corner of his eye on this side as it is this side. So there is a little bit of a method to this, just to make sure that our numbers aren't skewed. And I don't push very hard, and we're looking at about 9 centimeters from the corner to the corner of his eye. Okay, and I'm going to come to this side here also. Exactly 9 centimeters. So this I think that, you know, we're relatively symmetrical here, and we're going to do the majority of the work, the bulk of the work today, or almost all of it, I should say, is going to be right in these corners. Now we're going to come back into these areas where he's thinning a little bit and do a little bit of grafting, but you can't do too much grafting in an area that has that much hair. It would only cause hair loss. I don't think you would get any kind of net gain there. So, and hopefully he won't have too much hair loss in the future. And if he does, he realizes maybe he'll just come back, you know, years from now if he needs some more work done. But if he's anything like his dad had some hair loss also. We did a procedure on him and it's lasted 10 years and he hasn't had to come back. So hopefully he's in the same position as his dad. But I think this is perfect. You have a little scar here.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you fall when you were a kid?
It was more like a serious I do sparring.
Oh.
Karate. And
You got whacked there?
yeah, I think something like that. Yeah. And I was wearing my headgear, but the headgear it wasn't like.
It didn't protect that little spot?
No, not exactly. We use like these wooden swords.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now I know not to use not to do those swords again.
You want to check? Oh, you want vegetarian?
You actually did the whole thing?
You must do the whole thing. It looks weird.
I actually want to leave the hair here though, so I can see. He can get this touched up in a couple of days, but I need to leave a little bit of hair here
no problem.
so I can see the angle and direction for that. One of the good things about the lidocaine is it does work very quickly. I just try and kind of rub around a little bit to maybe trick the nerve a little bit so that it's not as uncomfortable. Alright, take a deep breath and relax. Relax your hands for a second. Basically what I'm here is I'm creating a block to numb up the complete rear of the occipital area. And what you have is you have these occipital, you have the two occipital nerves, and you have nerves that kind of travel north up the back of the head and bring local pain to this part of the scalp. And by doing a line of anesthetic down here on the bottom, we're kind of blocking those nerves. So it'll basically cause numbness all the way to about halfway. And then I'm going to come in the front, I'm going to do the front, and that'll kind of get all the front half. So we're essentially what we're trying to create is like a ring block. But there is a little discomfort, and you got to kind of do it slowly and just get from one side to the other until you've created, you know, complete numbness in the whole donor area. You should be getting a little bit numb.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, I still got to do this corner over here still, but we're doing great. Take a deep breath, relax. Okay. That thunder already? Yes.
It was pouring rain this morning in Miami when I left. It took 2 hours to get here.
Really?
Yeah, it was rough getting out of the city.
I'm just trying to kind of massage it in a little bit here. Push it around, try and move that anesthetic around a little bit. Maybe it'll take effect a little bit quicker. So when we're making the recipient sites, first of all, I use these little handmade surgical blades. This is a 0.9 millimeter. Actually, this is 0.8. This is a 0.8 millimeter blade that I made myself. These are handmade. The blade is handmade, not the handle. The handle is autoclavable and reusable, but the blades themselves are disposable, and I make them myself. I take a larger blade, and I use a special blade cutting machine. We cut it down to smaller blades. We can show you that later. So as you can see, these existing hairs here are really flat. They're really flat against the skin here. So in order to kind of copy that, you know, I have to make this incision really flat, straight forward, flat against the surface. Not straight in, not this way. I'm following the natural angle of the existing hairs. So, well, you know, luckily in this case, this patient has original hairs right there. So there really is no mystery. There's basically just follow the road map. There's actually a map right here in this case where we can just follow it and make the incisions in the exact. You feeling that?
Yeah, I feel that, yes.
Okay. He feels that a little bit. I told him if he has any discomfort to let me know. We're going to stop. And I'm going to put some more anesthetic in this spot. Okay. I'm going to try that again, but if you still have feeling, tell me again.
Yes.
Okay. And what I like to do, I like to make a little incision, like a marking incision, maybe along the whole line.
Hold on. I
You feel that?
Yeah.
And that too?
Yes.
Okay, so when we get back up there, I'll put more anesthetic there. But the reason why I do that is in case you lose your mark, I have a marking incision here. Once I start making the incisions, I'll generally make what we call a marking incision, which will be a little line of recipient sites along your original line, so that no matter what happens after that, you're never going to lose your original position and your original hairline that you designed. Now we're trying to make this transition. You can see the transition where the hairs right in here start to change angles. So We're gonna make that change right along with the natural directional change of the hairs.
Oh, I feel it, Doc.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can see the graft in there.
And I want to know what the transection rate is, just from an observation.
Okay, so you're ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're just taking a small sample of some of the grafts that were taken directly from the punch into the system and in the reservoir here. Now I'm just going to randomly pick 5 grafts here and show you what they look like. Okay, so okay, so now we're getting into the graft placement segment of the procedure here, and in my hand right here I have some single hair follicles. These are all 1 hair follicles, and we use these along the very anterior portion of the hairline. It creates a more natural appearance, it's a softer appearance. We also only use the single hair grafts in this temporal area. So these all get singles here. The first several rows of grafting get singles here, and then in this area here is where we put all the 2s, and if we've got some 3s, we'll put them probably back closer to where his thicker hair starts. So again, it's a natural progression of single hairs in the front, followed by 2 hair grafts, and then 3 hair follicle units just behind that. And I can show you just how we're putting these in here. They're very small. I'll come to one that's more open for them to see. You can see we just carefully slide the graft in the little incision there and slide it down this path. Now the angle and direction of this graft right here has really been determined by the angle the incision was made. So in this area I made the incisions kind of coming out in this direction toward the front in a natural angle, and when we slide the graft down in there, it should grow in that angle. And again, these are all single hair grafts that are going to be used in the hairline. I don't know how to max. I made these really tight.
I'll get video of them doing it too. So.
Yeah, these are tight. I gotta go over those again. Hold on. Hi, I'm Dr. Charles, and this is our patient from today, our 24-year-old, is that right? 24-year-old patient that we did our SmartGraft FUE case on today. You can see here the tiny little extraction sites. These were made with a 1.0 millimeter, most of them with a internal bevel. Is that right? The IB versus the outside bevel. And he has very little oozing, pretty minimal redness. I think that tomorrow this is gonna look 50 to 70% better than it does today. Here's where all the grafts were done. You can see we did basically just the hairline, a little more in the temporal corners, and some along the temporal region here. So I think we did 1,511 grafts, approximately 750 per side, and he made it through very easily. I think that our rate of transection was very low today. I would say it was definitely maybe in the 5 to 7% category, which is very acceptable for FUE. And he made it through really well. So we did well. He's going to have a great result. You took an antibiotic this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're doing one antibiotic in the morning, one in the evening for 3 days. So you have them at home. So you take another one tonight, morning and night tomorrow.
About 12 hours separation, yes.
Yeah, approximately. Doesn't matter too much. Pain, you can use extra strength Tylenol as needed every 3 or 4 hours. I would take 3 at a time, and you do have the stronger pain meds if needed. If for any reason you decide to go with the stronger one, I would start off with a half of one to start off with, and just make sure he has food in his stomach. Don't eat that coating on an empty stomach. Just causes nausea. Okay? So let's talk about physical activity. You got to take it easy for about a week as far as any exercise or activity is concerned. That includes cardio workouts and weightlifting and your martial arts. Okay? We talked about no contact for a couple weeks.
Okay. And he's supposed to go back by 13?
I don't see that being a problem, especially because of the fact that he never had an incision on the back of his head. I'd be much more concerned if he had FUT and he had a healing wound in the back. Once those little holes scab up and the scab falls off, that hole's filled in. It's not going to open up again. There's nothing to open up.
Right.
So he's totally safe. So once all this scabbing is gone, he can go back to a pretty much full exercise routine after 2 weeks.
Get a smack in the head?
No problem. No problem. Swelling. Let's talk about swelling. If you're getting any swelling, it would be not today or tomorrow. It would more likely be Wednesday or Thursday. It takes a couple of days. And since we did all the work right up front, the possibility of having a little swelling on the forehead is there. So what we do is we try and do a few things to try and prevent the swelling, preventatively. We have him sleeping on a slight incline, maybe 15, 20 degree angle, which he might do anyways, about 2 pillows. That's the normal anyways. And tonight, the first night, I want him to put this bandage or this pad down on the top pillow. Okay? Because this bandage that he has on his head right now, it's 6 o'clock right now. I want him taking the bandage off at 7 o'clock. Take it off. Let the back be exposed to the open air for a few hours before he goes to bed so it dries up. But even when it dries up, while he's sleeping and he's rolling around at night, a couple of them are going to open up and you're going to wake up and you're going to see a bunch of little red dots on this pad. That's normal the first night. You can throw the pad out tomorrow morning because this only happens the first night. Okay? If he has any bleeding from a graft, it would be between now and when he went to bed. Okay? I'm going to give you some gauze. You're going to take one piece of gauze. Okay? And you're going to fold it up twice. Once like this, so it's a little square. And you're going to put a couple drops of water on it. So it's a little damp. And with one finger, hold gentle pressure on the spot that's bleeding. I don't want you to push any harder than you would if you cut yourself shaving. If you push too hard, you could potentially push something out. These are not deep wounds. They're very shallow, superficial. They don't need a lot of pressure. Okay, so real gentle for about 1 minute. Bleeding from the donor, you can just take a piece of paper towel and fold it up a few times, make a pad, and with flat pressure of your hand, that you can push on as hard as you want. I'm not worried about you hurting a donor hole. I'm worried about the grafts. Okay? So, right now, all we do to put the grafts in is we make a little incision and we slide the graft in there. We wedge it in there. There's nothing gluing it in. There's no suture. They're not going to come out unless you physically hit your head hard. So you need to be very careful getting in and out of the car. Don't smack your head on the rim of the car, otherwise you'll push grafts out, okay? Anything that he needs to do on the ground over the next few days, tying the shoes, petting the dog, a briefcase, you want to kind of squat down and keep your head up. You don't want to bend over like that. All right, you want to just keep your head elevated for a couple of days. You just want to make sure they settle in. Okay? Hair washing. First hair wash. Not today or tomorrow, it's going to be Wednesday. Now he can shower today or tomorrow, just don't get your head wet at all. Just stand to the side and shower. Okay? On Wednesday, when he goes in the shower and he's actually going to wash his hair, I still don't want him to go directly under the I don't want him to go directly under the shower. I want him to stand to the side, and I want him to use a plastic cup to get his head wet. Okay, so it's a gentle pour, not a stream of water hitting the grafts. So now your head's all wet, and you're going to use what we recommend is sulfate-free shampoo. Sulfate-free shampoos are basically organic shampoos. They sell them in any store, and they have less chemicals in them. So that's my preference during the wound healing process. Normally, I don't think it really matters too much, but I think during the first week while these wounds are healing, the less chemical content of the shampoo, the better they heal.
So it'll be a big sign, sulfate-free?
It'll say sulfate-free, or it'll say no sulfates.
Cool.
I bet you your wife has some organic shampoos already in the house. I can guarantee it. She probably has 20 different shampoos. Some of them are organic. Check it before you buy any. Okay, so now your head's all wet. You lather the shampoo. You can wash this area that we didn't touch regular. Just gently dab with your fingertips. Be gentle. Use common sense. Dab there. Dab the back where the...
You're talking about Wednesday now?
Wednesday. Just dab and use the cup and rinse it off. This shows you every day what to do on how to shampoo. After a couple of days, you can start doing like little circles, get a little more aggressive, and by a week, all the scabs will be gone and you're back to normal. Okay? Now, I have a cell phone that I'm going to unlock here, and I'm going to get your cell phone number.
It's 2954
Okay?
263
Yep.
2178.
I'm gonna call them tonight and check up on them.
That's cool.
Okay. Now my cell phone number is on the sheet here, and I'm also calling your phone right now, so you'll have my number in it. So I know you already have.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can call anytime, day or night, or text me anytime, day or night if you have any questions. But I will call tonight around 8 or 9 o'clock to check up on them. Okay. One more thing. Let's talk about this healing spray. This healing spray we use is called H2 Ocean. And we like to spray it every 2 hours. It's 6 o'clock right now. I'm going to spray a little bit on the grafts.
So a little bit of water, is it? Mostly?
It's basically purified ocean water.
Okay.
It's seawater, salt water. It has lysozymes in there. Lysozymes are the ingredients that are in your tears. There's a reason why your eyes are exposed to open air 16 hours a day and don't get infected. The lysozymes are antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory. Okay, so this is just going to make things heal up a little faster. Okay, I don't think the results are going to be changed by this, but I think if we can make the healing process occur a day or two earlier, then it's worthwhile.
You shouldn't go swimming. We have a salt pool. We shouldn't go swimming.
No, I think you should hold off on swimming for a week.
Weeks.
Yeah, for a week. Yep. So this is every 2 hours. So we just did 6 o'clock. So he does not need to do this again until 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12. Now, once he goes to bed, he's done for the day. I do not want you to wake up every 2 hours. Then you start up again tomorrow once he wakes up. The only time you spray the donor is right before bed and first thing in the morning. So this is only twice a day, and this area is every 2 hours. And it doesn't have to be exactly 2 hours. If he takes a nap for 3 hours, no big deal. Start spraying it after 3 hours and then go 2 hours, every 2 hours from that point. Okay? You cannot hurt yourself with this. Use it all up. 3 things to remember for tonight. Actually, did we talk about ice yet? That's the other thing for swelling. A little bit of ice on the mid to lower forehead as a preventative measure for swelling. I only want you to do 5 or 10 minutes this afternoon at 7 o'clock when you take the bandage off. That's when you're going to do your first icing. From the middle of the forehead to the eyebrows, bottom half of the forehead, do not put ice on the grafts. Just above your eyebrows. 5 or 10 minutes, no more than 10. Put it back in the freezer. Wait till maybe 9 o'clock. Do another 5 or 10 minutes. Put it back in the freezer. Do it one more time before he goes to bed. At least an hour in between. Okay? So the 3 things you need to remember for tonight, we're going to break this down and summarize this. Take your antibiotic. Get some ice on your forehead. And you're going to spray the spray. That's it. And I'm going to call you. If you have any questions, you call me. Otherwise, he did great. This can't look any better than it does 15 minutes after surgery. All right, you're going to be amazed. The back looked really red today. Tomorrow, it's going to be 50 to 70% better. It's going to heal up really quick. Looks great. I'm really pleased the way this went, and he's all set. You guys did great. Okay?
Thank you guys.